Good evening, everybody. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth. It's Rod with Power Group. We're going to get started with the live stream here in about a minute or so. We'll give it a little bit for people to jump on. But just sit tight and we'll get started here momentarily. All right, let's get things kicked off. I see we have some people rolling in. Bit of a last minute live stream today, so just came on, wanted to hang out before the debate tonight. Obviously, this isn't a political channel. I'm not going to get too political. Obviously, I want what is best for MJ, but I'm kind of torn between two worlds right now because I love MJ. It's my passion. That's why I think I was put on this earth, was to spread the MJ gospel, so to speak. But I also love crypto as well. So I'm curious if anybody else is kind of in my same position, a rock and a hard place, so to speak, because it's going to be entertaining. I'm going to be getting the popcorn ready, but we'll discuss what to expect tonight, and then I'll give my thoughts and opinions. And if anybody does have any questions, or if anybody just wants to hang out and chill, we'll discuss all of that. But make sure to smash the like; it helps support me in the channel. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff, and you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only, and you should never buy or sell anything based on anything that I say or write. I see we have quite a few people flying in, so welcome to the live stream. Let's get ready to rumble, you bet. Thanks for joining the live stream, everybody. I see we have quite a few people joining now, so hope you're doing well today. It's Thursday, June 27th. Also, you can follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. And there was quite a bit of news out today. I did share some news with regards to Jones Soda and their Mary Jones brand. They announced HD9 shooters, expanding the iconic taste to new beverage format. We also had an article here from MJ Moment. So MJ not as dangerous as previously thought, Biden campaign says, as it promotes pardons and rescheduling in new ads. So we know that there's a lot of one-issue voters right now with regards to crypto. It's basically polar opposites. So you've got tons of people that are supporting one side of the aisle and one-issue voters for crypto, and then you've got myself, which I'm not even American, I'm Canadian, so I can't vote anyway. But you got people like myself who are one-issue voters for MJ and medicine in the future, right? So it's going to be an interesting. If you guys and gals remember the last debate between these two. I thought they were just going to start borderline throwing fists at one point. So we'll see if they're a little bit more tame. There's another one coming up in September, I believe it is. But it's going to be tonight, and it's going to be on. It's going to be hosted by CNN. I seen some of the what to expect for like a kind of a glimpse into the debate, and they're going to each have, I think it's like 2 minutes to speak, and then 1 minute to respond, and then another minute to respond. They're going to be about 8 feet apart. There's no audience, and they're going to have their microphone muted. So they won't be able to interrupt each other. But wow, the last time it was definitely probably the most wildly entertaining thing I've ever watched in my entire life. So we'll see what happens here. They're also not going to have any communication back to the respective parties. So we'll see if age catches up with them, and if they can remember a train of thought for any longer than 30 to 60 seconds without going back and tagging the team in. So it's going to be interesting to see, but the coverage is going to be beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and then it will be It'll begin, and it's going to be moderated by anchors Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, and the debate will air Thursday, today, June 27th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So let me know if you're excited for this one. I don't even know if I'm nervous, excited, but obviously, like I said, a lot of one-issue voters. I see, I'm in tons of crypto groups. I'm obviously in a ton of MJ groups, as that's the primary focus of this channel. But I'm curious to see what everybody else on the stream thinks. Are you, not to get political, but do you think we're going to see one side of the aisle really start to embrace crypto? Do you think we're going to see crypto embraced from both sides? Do you think we're going to even hear MJ, discussed? Do you think that's something that'll come up during the debate? I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it would be the next one, but I for sure think that crypto is going to be one of the major focuses. And we know Trump just kind of did a 180 out of nowhere. But it definitely seems like the other side of the aisle is relying on the medicine of the future, right? And like I said, that comment today that MJ not as dangerous as previously thought. We know that the UN said it's basically time for governments and countries to end the war on drugs and to explore alternative options, right? What does that mean, right? That likely means that they're going to legalize it. And then sure enough, there's another one today. The UN human rights expert says countries should legalize drugs to eliminate profits from illegal trafficking, right? And obviously the illicit market. So we'll take a look at crypto here just to kind of get an idea here into the debate on what to expect in terms of price action. It's a monthly inside bar at the moment. So we have resistance at the high of last month, 71,939, and support at 56,522. It's still a potential monthly bull flag though. We held a 0.382 fib, so as long as 55,000 held, it's still a potential monthly bull flag. And leading into the, I think the IMF today as well said no rate cuts. They encouraged the feds not to cut rates until the end of the year, and that's pretty much what I've been saying for a while now. I thought there was a slight chance, maybe a 5 to 10% chance they cut in July. I doubt it though. I think it's probably going to be in September, right before the elections. And then we also have the comment period for rescheduling ending on July 22nd. So I'm curious to see what everybody thinks in the chat. Are you a one-issue voter? Are you from the States? If you are, again, it's not to get political. I'm from Canada, but just curious if you're a one-issue voter on either side. Are you borderline crypto, or are you hell-bent on MJ? Does it matter? What if one side of the aisle started to embrace MJ that already didn't do so, right? Would that change your mindset any? But it's going to be interesting to see, like I said, if it's even brought up. I can pretty much, say without a doubt that they're going to bring up crypto. The question is, are they going to even discuss MJ? Which I think maybe there's a 20%, 30% chance they bring up MJ, whereas I think crypto is like a 90+% that it's going to be brought up, right? Especially like CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, etc. So no major red flags here on Bitcoin. It's just ranging. And then taking a look at the S&P 500, it confirmed its monthly bull flag. So that increases the odds that Bitcoin could do the same. And we have a measured move here and a target on the S&P 500 of 620. And if Bitcoin were to confirm its monthly bull flag, we could see upwards of 160K. So that's about 100%. I think it was like 125%. Yeah, about 100 and yes, sitting around 127% from the previous all-time high, give or take. So it's going to be interesting to see. We'll get an idea of what's going on here in MJ land. One thing that could happen too is they might not bring up MJ at all this debate. Maybe it comes up in the next debate, and then they run hard with MJ into that second debate just before the elections. But I mentioned on MSOS, it was a potential inverse head and shoulders. We had resistance there at 812. Today we hit 820. So we had an upper wick there as well. So if they fail to mention MJ at all tonight, it's entirely possible that we sell off on MJ as a result, and then, don't get too down in the dumps, because we could potentially see a right shoulder form and a EMA 12 and 26 bull cross here on the daily exponential moving averages. They're quite a ways away before they cross. So it would make sense to me that, we tighten up, we come down, potentially go sideways, form a higher low, form that right shoulder in the inverse head and shoulders, the IHS. And then as we see those EMAs get closer to a bull cross, that could more than likely coincide with the same time as a right shoulder forming, and then confirm the inverse head and shoulders. And we'd be targeting about 975 there on MSOS. So If I were a betting man, I would say that it might not even get mentioned at all. And then, like I said, that potentially marks daily consolidation into tomorrow and a daily high or low. But I'm curious to see what everybody else thinks. I'm not, holding my breath that they're going to mention it at all. Like I said, I think crypto is going to be a big focus for them. And we've kind of seen a 180. Trump, obviously has his NFTs, and he found a way, isn't that surprising, right? He found a way to make money off of it, and boom, he loves it. So kind of funny how he and the world works, right? Money talks. But at the end of the day, he's even taking campaign donations now in crypto, and Biden and, the other side of the aisle is more than likely going to start to pivot as well, because it's going to be their political death sentence if they don't, in my opinion. But imagine if one candidate were to support both crypto and MJ. Like, I heard Ramaswamy could potentially be the VP for Trump. So if that happens, I'm pretty sure he was pro MJ legalization at the federal level. So you never know. It could end up being a lot better than we think. But at the end of the day, I'm not American. I'm from Canada, and just curious to hear what everybody else thinks. But we've got Indiana. Muncie, Indiana is represented today. Thank you, Rod. You bet. Thanks for joining the live stream, Brian. We got Grit and Grunt in the house. David Benz, go ahead, Rod. Get political. Yeah, like I said, I can't even really get political because I'm Canadian. So to me, I'm neither here nor there. I really don't care, as long as we get my hope is that we get somebody in there that supports both my two favorite things, which are MJ and then secondly crypto. But as I've been saying for a while now, I don't expect MJ to really enter a new multi-year bull market until crypto, big tech, AI finishes its bull market and enters a bear market. So that's what I'm going to be expecting. But it doesn't mean that we can't run simultaneously. It's just, we're not going to see that prolonged bull market in MJ until we enter a bear market. Similar to what happened in 2017 and 18 when tech topped out, and then MJ went on a big run, and it was just all-time highs galore, right? Didn't matter. You throw a dart, and every company was hitting blue sky breakout, all-time highs. So even companies with bad fundamentals, right? It didn't even matter. Look at CanTrust, right? Some of those companies that, were doing a whole bunch of illegal practices. And, at the end of the day, these sectors, they don't really trade on fundamentals just yet, right? It's mostly hype cycles and boom and bust cycles, right? And everything moves together in tandem, usually not down to the day, the second, the minute, but overall, when in doubt, zoom out. If you look at the monthly, if you look at the yearly chart, they're all very similar. So my hope is that we get somebody. Obviously, the U.S. is the biggest economic power in the world, the biggest country, GDP. So we need them to embrace this medicine in the future. And obviously, crypto is a big thing right now. We're going to probably see stablecoin legislation. We have the MiCA regulations coming out soon. So we're seeing stablecoin regulation across the globe. And I think, as I've been saying with the US and MJ, they're never first and they're never last. So they'll probably be the next to adopt some sort of legislation with regards to stablecoins. And then that's just going to open up the floodgates. But, at this point, the more I look at the chart, the more I'm thinking that we might not get that much rhetoric regarding MJ this evening. And it's probably going to be mostly crypto, is what I would have to say. But I could be wrong. Let me know if you agree with me, disagree with me. I always love hearing from you in the comments. But yeah, I try to stay neutral. I try not to get political because it's like when I talk to my dad. My dad's Canadian as well, and if I just say the T word, he goes off, right? So it's kind of funny how triggered people get when. And it's not just the T word, it's the B word too, right? It's either side of the aisle. Some people they hear a name and they absolutely despise you for it. So, at the end of the day, I don't really put too much weighting behind either one. I mean, they're just a face, right? So at the end of the day, I think they're both probably terrible. So if I could pick somebody else, is there a third or a fourth or a fifth, a sixth option? No, but at the end of the day, look at MSOS was up to 810 here after hours. Posted a video on Tilray as well earlier. If you haven't seen that, you can check it out. There was an update with regards to MedMen, and the only secured debtor is the Superhero Acquisition Holdings Company, and that is 2/3 owned by Tilray. So it's looking good. End of the year and no mindset change, says Reston. And thanks for your comment as well, David. End of the year and no mindset change. I'm not really sure what you're referring to, Reston. Is that like we're kind of, midway through the year here. I'm not sure what you're referring to. If you can provide a little bit more color on that. How you doing, Sean? Nothing makes sense in stocks anymore, but I opened a new position in Tilray. We will see. Yeah, I assume you mean MJ stocks. Nothing makes sense in MJ stocks. Well, it actually does make a lot of sense when you think about it. The more that you've been around for boom and bust cycles, and generally these long drawn out bear markets, they're painful and they drag on, 3-4 years plus. And, it happens in every sector. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter than that. Sometimes, there's certain names in a sector that can run, like look at IIPR, some of those names in the MJ industry. If we just bring up the IIPR chart right now here on the monthly time frame, we've essentially, I'll just share my screen here real quick. So from the high to the low there, I already had it drawn. We're now over the 0.236. So we're getting close to that 0.32. But, from February 2021 highs, it held up a lot better than most, right? So it did pull back about 75%. Some names pulled back over 90%. But we are gearing up for a monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross there. So there's certain names that have recovered better than others. So you can see here, off of the lows, it's up about 100%. But again, IIPRs, the green thumbs of the world, they're a little bit more of a safer play. So you're not going to get a ton of upside with these ones, but they're a little bit more safe, right? You're not going to get a ton of risk, but also not a ton of reward. So it's one of the more of those safer bets, in my opinion. But there's some stocks that are down near their lows. There's some, that are outperforming others, but there's just leaders and laggards. And, like I said, for a while now, it's probably going to be MJ is going to run alternatively to the crypto bull market and the big tech and AI, right? There's just no reason for people to jump into MJ right now until there's major reform, which will more than likely be rescheduling before the elections. And the comment period ends July 22nd, and that's when I think things are going to start to heat up. I think the whole broader market's going to be bullish as well into the end of the year, and I think MJ is going to catch a bid. And then, like I said, into the end of the year, beginning of 2025, that's when I think the broader market, big tech, crypto, AI is going to enter a prolonged bear market, more than likely multiple year bear market. And then we'll start to see, MJ could get hit pretty hard in the short term. It could drop as a result of the S&P 500 getting hit in the short term and in the medium term. But then I think long term after that, while most names are in, especially crypto and tech, while those are in prolonged downtrends and bear markets, I think MJ is going to be one of the best performing sectors. So it's just the way it goes right now. Unfortunately, I wish I could change it. Wish I could say it isn't so, but it is what it is, right? And this is what happens, right? You see major euphoric blow off tops, and things are just irrationally exuberant to the upside. Nothing makes any sense in terms of valuations to the upside, and then you look at the downside, and a bear market doesn't make any sense either, right? That we're at all-time lows. We have all these major catalysts coming, but at the end of the day, you have to remember too, we still don't have MJ banking yet, right? So a lot of the traditional funding, a lot of these traditional TradFi, right, traditional finance players in the industry can't really dip their toes in yet. Most of the institutional capital's floating around in the Canadian companies that are listed on the U.S. major exchanges like the NASDAQ. So we have tons of catalysts coming. It's just, like I said, we just have to be patient, and fortunately it is what it is, but time is going to be our friend eventually, and we'll be on the right side of history. And those that, kind of weather the storm, like I said, are going to be the ones who reap the rewards long term and create that sort of generational wealth, right? Boris has agreed. Yeah, I definitely feel you there. MJ will take at least another 5 years to turn around. I don't think it will take 5 years. I think it'll probably take 5 to 10 years for the blue chip phase. Speaking of which, if nobody has seen this video yet, it is fantastic. I'm just going to share my screen here one more time. There we go. Got an ad playing here at the moment, so we'll skip through that. But yeah, it's called How Big Business is Trying to Rig Legal Weed Market, Breaking Points with Crystal and Sager, I think it is. So Breaking Points is the name of the channel. I shared this on X as well. If you just scroll down on, again, the handle for that's just @GroupPow. Scroll down, you'll see it there. But fantastic. That's where, obviously, the blue chip phase happens in any industry, but he did such a fantastic job talking about how, we're in like the scale phase, right? Phase 2, and then focus, and then, the mega mergers is going to be the last phase, the blue chip phase, right? So 4 major phases. And we can't have blue chip status until the biggest economic country in the world, the United States, legalizes it at the federal level, right? And right now we have a ton of crypto legislation, right? We see through the courts, they're battling it out in the judicial system, right? We're seeing, Ripple, we're seeing all these other cases against Binance and Coinbase and Grayscale, and we're getting all these ETFs approved for Bitcoin. Ethereum really could be any week now. We're seeing Van Eck filed for a Solana ETF today. So XRP ETF not far after that. So we're seeing the plumbing for the new financial system be set up in front of our eyes, and the legislation's coming out, right? We're seeing stablecoin legislation, Fit 21 going through, right? So there's all these new innovative and progressive bills that are going toward the crypto industry. And then I think after we get kind of that dust settled and the regulatory, landscape and rules of the road established for crypto, well, then what is there, right? What other major pressing issues do people have that are quite often a one issue type of voter, right? Well, that would be MJ. So I think after this, after we get crypto legislation and regulation and clear rules of the road, I think we're going to see MJ banking. We'll see uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ, more likely the NASDAQ, because it said it was warming up to Canadian companies with U.S. operations. And then, we'll see Schedule 3 enactment, right? We'll see full-blown federal legalization, and it'll more than likely be some sort of, leave it up to the states or something like that, right? So that's kind of what I'm expecting, and it's unfortunate, but that's why it also pays to be diversified, right? That's why I have more dollars still in crypto than I do MJ, right? And everybody doesn't always have to do that. You don't have to be like me, but I think it makes a lot of sense. They're the two most volatile asset classes on the planet, though, so you have to have a stomach for those 80 to 90% corrections. But the more you're involved in these highly volatile industries and sectors, the more you can kind of prepare for that, right? While a lot of people might buy the dip a lot, they think they're getting a good deal, and then it drops another 50% from there, right? But it all just comes with experience, and quite often you just learn the lesson, right? And, a lot of people say, well, I don't like those 80, 90% pullbacks, but that's why we invest, right? We're here for the volatility. And, if you can't have those 100x gains or 1,000x gains without those 80 to 90+% pullbacks. And we were discussing this in the POW Group community today. You know who you are, but I brought up the 12-month chart for Apple. So, and keep in mind, Apple almost went bankrupt in 1997 if Microsoft didn't invest $150 million, and they weren't selling Schedule 1 illegal drugs, right? So if you take a look at Apple, from the low here, which was in 82, in about, we'll just go from inception. So from the low there, let's just say you bought it in the first year, right, in 1980, and then 20 candles later, so that'd be 20 years later, you'd only be up about, from the low of that, from that initial year that it launched, you'd only be up about 7x, right? $1,000 into $7,000. But $1,000 was a lot of money back then compared to the purchasing power of the dollar and it eroding, right? But my point is from 1980 to about 19 years later, you're only up about 700-800%, right? But then look what happened. We pulled back about 83%, right, in the dot-com bubble in 2000. So we pulled back about 83%. Then what happened? Then we hit the blue chip phase. Then we went on to do 1,070x, right? So that's where the real growth comes. So that took 20 years for that to play out. And then barely any upside. If we go from the local low to the local high there, it was 33x. So $1,000 into $33,000. But then we went on to do 1,000 from the low there of that. But if you even use this low here, it was a lot more than that, right? It was 230,550%, right? So that's what, 2,305x. So that's a lot of return, right? But again, we didn't hit that escape velocity, and that wasn't with Schedule 1 illegal drugs either, right? So if you think about, the MJ industry, really it started to kick off in what, 2000. It started to get really big right around 2010, kind of around the same time as crypto, actually. So, and that's actually how I got involved in MJ stocks. Was I started investing in crypto and Bitcoin, and then I started to buy some MJ stocks, right? So, yeah, if it took 20 years for us to really start to see, price appreciation and escape velocity, well, it's going to take at least another 5 to 10 years before we see any kind of major blue chip phase. But again, check out this video. It's about 18 minutes long. It's amazing. You got to watch it. So, at the end of the day, MJ has been around now for, a decade and a half, since, public companies and whatnot. I mean, obviously MJ's been around for a lot longer than that, but, since really, public companies, been about a decade and a half. So we're going on 2 decades. I think, the next 5-10 years from now, and I think that the U.S. could legalize at the federal level a lot sooner than most people think, especially with those comments coming out of the UN and the end the failed war on drugs and do more alternative approaches, So it's the writing's on the wall. Germany, Canada, once 1 or 2 go, they all go, right? And the UN commenting now, it's just a matter of a couple of years, in my opinion, before the U.S. legalizes. And then they'll more than likely deschedule it, similar to Germany and Canada. And then from there, 5 to 10 years. But I'm very confident in thinking that, the next decade, we should see, these blue chip winners start to emerge. And there's probably going to be, like I said, 5 to 10 major big players. In my Cureleaf video from yesterday with Boris Jordan, he just did a Q&A with MJ Europa, and he said the exact same thing. He said there's probably going to be like, I forget, what did he say, like 10 to 20 major players? So I've been in the camp of saying, somewhere around that 5 to 10, but he thinks it's kind of going to be something similar, right? It's either going to be somewhere around that 10 to 20 big players, right? And there's probably going to be, quite a few from the U.S. There'll be a handful there'll probably be like a dozen from the U.S., maybe 6 to 12. In Canada, there'll probably be 3 to 6. And then there'll be some international ones as well, right? I think I lost my spot here. MJ will take at least, yeah, there it is. Okay, so if they give Biden enough drugs, he might talk about MJ. Yeah, let's give him some truth serum. You're right, they are both terrible. Yeah, I mean, it's a sad state of affairs, but I just hope they don't embarrass the world like they did the last debate, because that was it was painful to watch, right? It was really, really painful to watch. So we'll see what happens. I agree with you. Yep. Evil on both sides when the big picture is to coexist and to take care of the earth. Yeah. The earth. Yep. I agree. Yeah. Peace and love. But unfortunately, it's divide and conquer, right? It's funny, Sean Gates, because I am praying for that to happen. I need them to talk about MJ and EV. Yeah, and it's no coincidence that, electric vehicles, right after they came out with all the, Tesla almost went bankrupt as well, by the way. And after the U.S. government started to support Tesla in the industry, we saw insane gains right on Tesla. And then everybody and their dog started to pile into Tesla, and then it did the stock split. And now it's just been a brutal slide, right? And it's been a long, drawn-out process. And they do that. What does that remind you of, right? It's the same thing they do with every new emerging industries, because once everybody, once all of retail investors join and think Tesla, it's going to $1,000 a share, it's going to 10,000, it's going to $1 million a share, right? Then they drop it 80, 90%, and then they just go sideways or just bore the ever-loving hell out of people, right? Until they get frustrated. So investor fatigue is what it's called, right? So they're doing it with EV. They did it with crypto. They did it with MJ. They did it with big tech companies, right? AI. Eventually AI will go through a similar thing. What could be a realistic price for Tilray towards the end of the year? Well, it's hard to say given the right circumstances and catalysts. We could easily see back up to around $3 to $5, in my opinion, conservatively. But I think, on the higher end, I think we could anywhere from $5 to $10 into the end of the year, and that's USD. But that is assuming that we get rescheduling and then potential for banking as well. And Florida getting passed. If that happens, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun end of the year. I think it will be in Biden's interest to bring up MJ and his efforts in that regard. Absolutely, I think so too. It's just I'm wondering if he's going to bring it up now or in the next one. So we'll see. Maybe he even starts to discuss crypto. Maybe he takes a pro-crypto stance and catches everybody off guard. And then it's two pro-crypto candidates, and then those one-issue voters are like, oh, what do I do now? And then who knows? Maybe I just like, why not support both? Why not support MJ and crypto? You'd win by a landslide. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me, but they don't want the industries to get big too big too fast, right? So that's why I think they kind of run them inversely as well. But they'll let it run whenever they're ready. Next is EV, crypto, and then MJ. Yeah, I would agree to a certain extent, Sean. I'd probably do crypto, EV, and MJ is probably the chain of events. We saw the news with Volkswagen and Rivian as well, right? So that was stock. Rivian was up like crazy there after that news, but it was like a $5 billion investment. What percentage of the population has crypto? I'm not involved in it. So there actually was a statistic that I think like 58 million Americans. How many Americans own crypto? It was like 58. Cryptocurrency awareness and ownership rates have increased to record levels. 40% of American adults now own crypto from 30% in 2023. So what is current population of US? So there's 333 million. Where's my calculator? So 333 million. We'll just do 333 divided or times 40%. Is that right? 133 million people? I thought it was like 60 million people or something like that. There, yeah, it's saying as many as 93 million people on Google. And then how many Americans own dogs? 65.1 million U.S. households own a dog. So, they were comparing essentially crypto to domesticated animals, right? Like dogs and cats. So, it's kind of in the same ballpark. That's households, but yeah, crazy. So, crypto is essentially right up there with cats and dogs. But pretty soon, once it's like right now, it's hard to own crypto. It's getting easier, right? Because of the exchange traded products, right? They have ETFs and ETPs, right? But, and then now they have like Wealthsimple in Canada where you can just sign up for a regular stock account. They have crypto on there. Super simple. You just have to go through a couple questions. What else? Before you had to have like a little USB stick, and you had to there's even more complicated parts than that, right? Like you had to do everything from a laptop, and you had to run a node, and it was super complicated. And now it's getting to the point where it's just embedded in everything, right? And it's just, you don't need to know how. It's like when cell phones first came out, right? They were super difficult, hard to use, but now you don't know how your cell phone works. You don't know how your iPhone works. You just know that you know how to use it, right? So once crypto hits that kind of, era and point of adoption where that's just going to be critical mass, right? When everybody is using crypto without even knowing it or knowing how it works, it's just that ease of use, right? So that we're on the cusp of that. But yeah, it's getting so big, right, that it's hard to ignore it, right? So, and I come from the from the tech industry, so if you go to like HTTPS on a website, that's just all encryption, right? It's military grade encryption, the SHA-256 hash. The SHA-256 hash is patented by the NSA. The NSA patented in its military encryption. The NSA's patent SHA-256 hash is actually used by Bitcoin's encryption protocol. So It's just public and private keys, right? That's how SSL certificates work, right? When you go to HTTPS, it just means it's SSL certified, military grade encryption, 256 hash, right? So 256-bit encryption, and then it scrambles it, right? And it's essentially just a very long, complicated username, and then a very long, complicated hexadecimal, like alphanumeric type of format, right? So it's just like a really difficult username and a really difficult password. So think of like an email address with a very difficult password, right? That's essentially all cryptography is a public key and a private key. And that can be just in very layman's terms saying that's your email address, your public key, and then your password for your email, your private key. Biden might not mention safe banking, or might mention. Yeah, we'll see. I doubt it. He hasn't really talked much about it, so I don't think he would. If anything, it's probably going to be like Schumer, as much as people are probably going to be like, what? That guy hasn't done anything. But like, he is arguably the second most powerful Democrat in the country. So, yeah, I think toward the end of the year when we get rescheduling, things like that, it's just the momentum's going to build. Florida will probably get approved, I think. And then banking will just be right around the corner and uplisting as well. And Cureleaf has already said they've been in talk with the U.S. major exchange about uplisting. So I don't think it's that far away at all. And if 280E goes away, like Cureleaf said and Boris Jordan said, if it wasn't for 280E, they'd probably already be paying a dividend to shareholders. So let that sink in for a moment, right? That's crazy. I sold Coinbase yesterday and bought more Tilray. Yeah, not a bad idea there, Munch. I'm not going to tell you what to do, buy, sell, or hold, but sounds like you're barking up the right tree for sure. I think, Coinbase, what is it up, like a couple 100%? Bring up the chart here. Over the last year or so, yeah, so in about 17, well, from the low there to the high, so in about 14 months, it was up over 800%. Yeah, so we hit down to 31. That was actually a wicked area to enter there. $31 here on the monthly low, and 31.55. Sorry, 31.83 and then 31.55. So essentially a double bottom there at 31, monthly oversold, and then massive move, right? High of the bounce was 283 coming off 31. So, and keep in mind that Coinbase, the SEC approved the S1 for them to go public and then turned around and sued them. So, like, I think the SEC is going to go away. There's talks about Gary Gensler could even go to jail. But yeah, until these like bureaucrats start going to jail, right? They're just going to keep doing it. And he used to work for Goldman Sachs, right? So nothing in the world happens without Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan's, Morgan Stanley's of the world, right? And same thing with MJ, right? Got to get them positioned, banking, uplisting, right? All that good stuff. And then they'll just use that as a massive, and then Germany looking to fast track Pillar 2, right? So there's so many catalysts. It's just, there's more of a narrative. There's more of a rush to get crypto stuff done now, right? And regulations, legislation. And then I think the next will be MJ. It was similar too, right? During, the last couple of years, it kind of took a back burner to everything. And then crypto went on a big run. And then now they're starting to focus, like every second word you hear out of politicians now is MJ. So then, I think it'll be at the forefront soon in the spotlight. Like, when's the last time you've gone to like CNN or CNBC or BNN and you've seen like an MJ article on the front page, right? When we're in a full-on bull market, you'll see that like every week, right? And they'll just keep pumping it and pumping it and pumping it. That's when you'll know that we're getting close to a top again, right? But I wish you all the best there on that trade. I'd say $2 to $3 honestly, long term. Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty much what I said. I said 3 to 5 potentially by the end of the year. But yeah, $5 to $10 on the high end if we get enough of those catalysts strung together. I like and respect Lauren Ingram, but she's wrong on MJ. Ingram? I don't know who that is. Have to forgive me on that one, David. But yeah, $2 to $3 honestly, Shad. Yeah, that's not completely out to lunch at all. We were just at what was it, 340? And that would confirm the monthly uptrend as well. So yeah, 340 is the resistance level to break, and we must hold 150. So 150 holds on Tilray, break 340 from here, monthly uptrend confirmed, And then at that point, we're probably heading back up to $5 in a hurry. I'm bullish on MJ. You bet. Sam Bankman-Fried, are you in? Yeah. Scam, bank run, fraud. And that dude was meeting with the SEC. He was meeting with Congress. Like, Maxine Waters was blowing him kisses. And, it's just like all this happened under the SEC's watch and nose. And then they turn around and sue Coinbase. That's public, that they approved. It's just ludicrous, really. The TDR boys are bringing in $75K per month from paid clients. What? Yeah, the Laura Fox News. Okay, gotcha. Thanks, Juan. Appreciate it. Yeah, David. I knew it had to be a hefty figure. But yeah, that's. I think that's pretty much what I had figured as well. Yeah, it was like just around $1 million total, and that wasn't factoring in one of the one-time payments and the shares as well. So who knows? And there's probably a lot more clients coming down the pipe. But yeah, I mean, kudos to them for landing that. It's just I was a little. Anyways, maybe I won't say any much more on that because my previous video wasn't too well received. Is BGXX worth investing in? I've never heard of it. BGXX Break Green Corporation? Is that the one on the NASDAQ? I wish I could give you more information on this one. I have no comment. Just looking at the chart here, if this is the one, it's looking like it wants to see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross here on the weekly, but it's coming off weekly oversold. So here was a nice entry here at 15 cents, and then we had another dip down to 15 cents. So a nice double bottom there at the all-time low. That's when I probably would have entered. We also had bullish RSI divergence, hidden bullish RSI divergence. As you can see here, we were trending higher lows and higher highs on the RSI, and then the price action was trending lower highs and lower lows. So that's what's called hidden bullish RSI divergence. It had been a while since we had a weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. You had a double bottom there. So that would have been where I would have looked to enter right here and then set my stop under that. And then even from that low to the high here, you have about 150% based on that logic. But from the local low there to the local high, it was about 175%. So I have no idea fundamentally speaking, but technically I'd just be a little cautious on this one. Could be a big cup and handle here on the daily time frame forming as well. But we are getting close to resistance there at 44 cents, so I'd just be cautious. We have no real weekly support either nearby till all the way down to 15 cents. So hopefully that helps, big homie. I think I got pretty much everybody. Skivvy, I bet they won't mention anything about 420, but possibly Bitcoin. Regardless, I'm giddy over Tilray and MedMen. Yeah, I don't think though. I'm probably gonna say they won't mention anything about MJ. Maybe that'll be the next debate, but I think it's going to be mostly around crypto. I would have to agree. But yeah, Tilray, MedMen, super sweet news. I'm so bullish on MJ, but I don't like how this company looks. BGXX, is that the one you were talking about? Yeah, I'm not sure. I honestly never heard of them before, so I can't really give too much insight beyond the technicals here, but BGXX. Yeah, like it's starting to turn around here. We do have the 100 weekly there at 62 cents. Should be strong resistance, and we're gearing up for a golden cross as well, the first time in multiple years. So yeah, this could probably head back up to around 50 to 75 cents. Just looking at the chart, but unless you're in now, you're kind of risking it. It's probably due for a pretty big pullback at some point soon. So we're getting close to weekly overbought here on the RSI, but still yet to see that weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. It's just, when things are starting to run like this, when you're up off of the lows there, even to this high, it was up over 270%, right? Then it pulled back 70% in a couple months. So it's volatility. Unless you're getting it on these lows, right? If you're buying now, you're buying close to resistance. And then that's just a recipe for disaster, right? Because that's what they try to do. They, like, most people should be buying here. If you're investing specifically, holding long term, right? You want to be buying blood in the streets. You want to be buying fear. You don't want to be buying here, because then you're going to get greedy. Then it's going to pull back 70% on you, and you're going to be like, oh, screw this, I'm done investing, right? So try to, generally, when you feel like buying, try to do the opposite, right? Especially if you're new, right? If you feel like buying, it's probably a better idea to start selling, like 80 to 90% of the time if you're new, right? So here would have been a great entry, like I said, playing off that double bottom at 15 cents, and then that hidden bullish RSI divergence as well, looking for a weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. We also had a bull cross of the stochastic and the MACD lining up, and a golden cross forming. So it's looking good, but we're closer to resistance than we are support now, so just be cautious on that one. What do you think about Leafly? I don't not like it. I think it's kind of differentiating itself, and they have that partnership with Uber. Is it Leafly and Uber, British Columbia? I think it was. Yeah, Uber Eats and Leafly to offer MJ order service in British Columbia. So, I don't think Uber's going anywhere. I don't think Leafly's going to go anywhere. I think it's a pretty decent holding, like in a well-balanced, diversified portfolio. So I got nothing bad to say about it. It's looking pretty decent here. We're gearing up for the first weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross since 2022. But you might want to get it on a weekly higher low here, somewhere around, $2, 175. That's probably what I'd be looking for. We're still in a monthly downtrend as well, lower highs and lower lows. So this could be one massive inverse head and shoulders, though, in the monthly. You'd be looking at something like this. Yeah. Could happen. We'll see. But no, yeah, I think it makes sense to, hold it in your MJ portfolio long term. Would I, put majority of my capital into it? Probably not. I might, allocate, 1 to 5% of my whole MJ portfolio to it, but I don't own it personally. You never know. I might look, I don't really understand their business model 100% though, to be honest. I'd have to do a little bit more of a deeper dive into, the fundamentals and the numbers, but they've been missing the last couple of quarters, still operating at a heavy loss here, and revenue, and they did the reverse split 1 for 20. Revenues dropping 10 million, 9 million. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a small company, right? What's the market cap on that? Market cap 5.5 million. Yeah, so it's tiny, right? You got Curaleaf like 5 billion. Cura. Yeah, 4.334 billion. Right? So it's definitely small. I probably wouldn't put a whole lot into that one. Hopefully that helps. Awesome info here. Love your channel. I'm dabbing now. That's awesome, big homie. Thanks, Rebel, for your question and comment as well. But yeah, I haven't had a dab in a long time. Man, I almost forget what it feels like. But thank you very much. I appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate the support. Legal in Missouri, happy every day. Yeah, it's legal here everywhere in Canada. It's been over 5 years now of awesomeness. So I can't wait until everybody around the world just experiences how awesome it is. Like, I walk by MJ stores now, and their windows very transparent. Like, they used to have everything like blocked down. You can see like the MJ, the beverages fridge. You can see, the everything on the wall and the shelves. It's pretty sweet. And there's just like every kind of form factor now. You can get beverages, you can get your tinctures, you get your topicals, you get your dabs, your concentrates, your flowers, your pre-rolls, your infused pre-rolls. So it's just nonstop. Plus the prices are way better now, and it's just only going to get better. So, all right, gonna end it there. When is the next earnings report for Tilray? Yeah, take a quick peek here. I'm going to wrap it up, though. Yeah, I'm bad to average down on CYBN, but the fundamentals of BGXX are not something to brag about. Seems scammy to me, but I've been scalping it as an MJ stock. Yeah, you have to be careful too when things are down 80, 90% plus from all-time highs and 52-week highs. You have to be careful, right? Because there's so many good deals out there. Everything's on sale, right? These tier ones, these big cap names. I think, kind of focusing on those low micro caps is very risky because, like I said, there's just so many good deals out there. I'd probably be more inclined to look at the micro caps and the small caps after we see a pretty decent move on some of the tier ones and the tier 2 and 3s. But yeah, I'm seeing July 24th right now for Tilray upcoming earnings, forecasting 224.61 million revenue, which is up a lot from last quarter. And they're expecting about an improvement of about 50% there on EPS, negative 0.0271. And we'll just see what Mumu says here as well. Tilray analysis. So yeah, we're expecting 225.838 million. And yeah, same thing, around negative 0.028. But that's USD. Whoa, that's USD? 225.838. Is this one USD too? Yeah, I did. I usually select the Canadian one because they report in Canadian dollars. Let me see. Earnings. Yeah, 306.21 million Canadian. So yeah, that's a big jump up. Yeah, we'll want to see official confirmation from Tilray as always, but yeah, it's not looking too bad. EBITDA, they're expecting an improvement there by quite a large margin. It was negative 82 million and change, and then they were forecasting negative 28, and now they're forecasting negative 12. So I think the days of unprofitable LPs are numbered, that's for sure, and we'll see what happens here with MedMen. But I think we could see some news sooner than later with regards to those MedMen assets. Yes, I get it all. All right, thanks, Jaro. Thanks, Chris. And thanks, everybody else. I think I mentioned everybody else already. So thanks again for your comments. Always fun coming on and chilling. We've got, whoa, didn't even see the amount of viewers that we had after this length of time. But yeah, almost 40 people in the house already. Or not already. It's been almost an hour. So even after an hour, still quite a few people engaging on the stream. So like I said, I didn't really have anything major planned for this stream. It was just come on and kind of shoot the shit and just kind of chat with everybody and see what everybody thought about tonight, because I'm excited for it. What is it? 2.5 hours away. Yeah, just over 2.5 hours away. So like I said, gonna go hang out with my daughter, hang out with my girlfriend, and get ready. Might hit the gym here beforehand, and then like I said, get the popcorn ready. Also got a little bit more work here to do with some of my short-term rentals, looking at another tenant and some of the, or sorry, that's long-term rentals, and then short-term rentals. I got to deal with some inquiries for my Airbnb. All right, going into there, I'm pretty excited for this debate. Now that I think about it, like I said, I wasn't sure if I should be nervous, if I should be excited, but I'm just excited to see whether or not they mention MJ, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I think it's going to be mostly crypto. All right, we'll discuss it on the next live stream and on the next one, but hope you have a great night, and we'll see you again on the next video. It's Rod with Pow Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth, and get your popcorn ready. I think it's going to be a doozy. All right, have a good one.